welcome to Picture Book Chat. This is our first program that we have done. My name is Mary Ellen Brax. I am the Public Services Manager for Early Learning. And so I've been with the district for quite a few years now. So we just wanted a way to share what new books are coming in, since people can't come in and browse our new bookshelves. I have somebody with me today, Sheri Boggs. I'll let her introduce herself.
Thanks, Mel. Okay, so I'm Sheri Boggs. I am the Youth Collection Development Librarian for the Spokane County Library District. That's a super long way of saying I'm a buyer. I buy for everything from age 0 up to 18. So I do kids books, YA, middle grade, all of that. And I was really excited when Mel brought up doing this, because these are the kind of conversations that we have in the office all the time. Like, I'll show Mel this great picture book that we got and we'll get super excited about it, and she'll talk about how she would use it in Storytime. And this is a chance for us to still have those conversations, but also share it with all of you. So that's how this is going to work. Like, basically, I'm going to bring a handful of books and tell Mel what I like about them, and then I'll turn it over to Mel to talk about how she would use it as a parent or a caregiver or an early childhood educator. But super informal. It's just two friends who love picture books and are using this as an excuse to talk about them. So Mel, the first book I have for you today is Summer Song.
Yes, I love that.
By Kevin Henkes. So what first struck me about this, of course, is Kevin Henkes. He's been around since at least the 90s, I think. He did, back in the day, Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, Wimberly Woundweed, Owen, all these great classic picture books. In recent years, he's been doing this series of books about the seasons. And this is the fourth one in that quartet. I'm blanking on the names. Like, we can put them up at the end. Anyway, so this is Summer Song. And what I love about this is it uses the metaphor of how summer is like a song. And so it talks about all of those sounds that happen in the summer. So I wanted to show you a page. Let's see if you can see this. There. If there is tall grass in a field and the wind blows, it sounds like music. And so this really appeals to me. All of the spreads are like this, like they're really spacious. It's not a really cluttered design. It's easy for young eyes to focus on this. And the text is really spare and big. It's big enough, for a beginning reader to see it. So this could work across different age ranges. It's got great vocabulary. There's sound words like whirring, buzzing, humming, clicking. There are different creatures you can identify, like he talks about crickets and birds. It's just magical. And it kind of talks about how in summer everything just kind of slows down and you feel like you're part of this big green song. It's just gorgeous as a metaphor. It's almost like poetry. And what I love about it, the first book that he did in this series that has to do with autumn, the book kind of ends on that note. It talks about how Summer Song gets kind of tired of itself and it has to change, and then autumn comes. So it kind of comes full circle. And I just think it's gorgeous. Mel, tell me what you like about this book.
Well, that was one of my favorite things about the book, was that it turned into fall. I love the illustrations. So one thing I didn't mention at the end, I said I'm in charge of early learning, but I'm in charge of all our story time. So we are constantly looking for great books that would work in story time, but with our work with the child cares too, we're also looking for books that would work one-on-one. The same with families. We're looking for books that would work one-on-one. This is a book that I think works for everyone. It's a great preschool book. I love the language in it. I love the fact that they talk about sounds. And so one of the ideas I had for the activities, I think there was a page in here where the little girl is lying down on the grass and she's just looking up, and she's listening to all the sounds that she could hear. So I could just imagine my own kids lying down in the grass and doing that. The neighbor kids, they're often out doing things like that. But that would be a good way to get kids to kind of relax and take a take a listen to what's around them. A lot of the times we say, take a look, see what's around, but what do you hear? What sounds of summer do you hear? So I've got some notes here I'll be referring to, but one of the things I thought would be great to extend this book and extend the learning in it would be to have the kids draw a picture of their favorite summer memory. So one of my favorite summer memories, because I lived on the East Coast for a while, was the fireflies here. And so that's something kids here don't necessarily see because we don't have fireflies here. So I thought that, we could talk about, well, what is it that they hear that they love? What is it about summer that they love? So it's a great way to talk about the seasons too. And maybe talk about, well, what's your summer song? And have them make up a little song. So you can build in that music, which kind of definitely falls along in with the reading skills here too. So, and of course the colors in this book, Sheri, wouldn't you agree? They're just so gorgeous. Even the end papers. I mean,
Yeah.
You could do some, painting with this. If you're a family, you can have them take the paint outside and paint what their favorite thing of summer is. I mean, there's just so much I feel like you could do with this. And talking about the different colors. What is the color that they see the most in summer? And talk a little bit about their favorite colors. So there's lots of activities you can do to extend this, I think, and where it leads into a nice progression. So when you get to fall, then you can pull out that book and put the fall book on hold, and it would be a great thing to just make the seasons go through. Because I think the other one they have is winter is here.
Mm-hmm.
And spring. So we've got the 4 seasons. So that would be a nice kind of, you could even tie in an author study and read Kevin Henkes' books. It's just something I just happened to think of as we were talking about that. But yeah, it's one of my new favorites that has come out recently.
I looked up the titles for the other books, and they are In the Middle of Fall, Winter is Here, and When Spring Comes. So those are the other seasonal Kevin Henkes books. Mm-hmm. So Mel, are you ready for another one?
Yes, I am.
Well, I've got one for you, and I'm really excited about this because it's Smashy Town. This is the same team. This is Andrea Zimmerman and Dan Yaccarino, and they brought us Trashy Town, which, Mel, I think you can agree with me, is Storytime gold.
Yes,
it's one of those books. Early in my career, I did toddler Storytime, and even though that book is a little bit older for toddlers, like all the sounds that you get to make, like they loved it. They would lose their minds when I did that book. Yeah. So it was great. And this is a new one by that same team. I'm going to read you the description in the flap. It's really short, but I think this sets it up. Swing the ball, hit the wall, smash, smash, smash. With a turn of his crane and a swing of his wrecking ball, Mr. Gilly knocks down the old buildings. He smashes through brick and wood. He crashes through stone and glass. Then, with a push from his bulldozer, Mr. Gilly cleans it all up to make room for something brand new. Aren't you intrigued?
I am. I am.
So what I love about this is a great book for all those kids that love construction machinery and construction sites, but the magic of this is it's all about destruction. This is all about demolition. So kids that like to knock over towers of blocks, this is the book for them. So I love the suspense that it builds. There was a little bit on the flap, but I love this. Like here we are in the construction site. The crane crawls. Mr. Gilly pulls the levers. He turns the crane. Like you could do this in Storytime and just read this part really slowly. So the kids are just like, oh no, here it comes. And then you turn the page, go, swing the ball, hit the wall. You can kind of sing it as you read it. Smash, 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 swing the ball, hit the wall, crash, crash, crash. And then on the other side, crumble, tumble, down goes brick. Is the demolition done? No. So this is a great one for participation. The kids would love the part where they get to yell no. Repeating some of those great, like gravelly, construction-y kind of words like rumble and tumble. I just can't say enough good about this book. Mel, what do you like about it?
Oh, I love that repeating vocabulary to get the kids to participate, because I have two boys and we would spend hours watching construction vehicles. And I just know, watching the neighbor kids, the garbage truck goes by and they're all out watching it. And, you know, the tree trimmers come and they're out watching that. So this just would be such a big hit in story time there. I also love that it was that deconstruction, because really it's working on social emotional skills. Because how many of us have had the big towers growing up and a child comes by and smashes it, and you know there's usually tears, but it helps work on it because we can say, well, we can build it up again so that we have another chance to smash it down. And so I really liked it for that, because of course if you're in a family and there's any toddlers, the first thing the toddler does is knock down the older siblings' building. And then, you know, we see it in Storytime all the time as we have the younger toddlers walking around with the older preschoolers there, and boom, it goes down. So it's great for building up social and emotional skills and making it into a game. Let's build it up so that we can knock it all down again. So the other fun thing I thought, because it was construction, you could have the kids building things in a particular way. So you can have them using a certain number of blocks, or you could have them use a certain type of blocks, and then go through and knock it down and see, can you build it as high as you can before, and it not fall down so somebody else can knock it down. So, you know, your goal is to build it up so the person can knock it down, but, you know, sometimes they fall down before then, all by themselves. So I kind of like those, building in those challenges too. I also love, it would actually make a great bedtime story, right? Because he goes to bed at the end after his day is done. My other favorite part of this is that it has the library at the end. And it's a grand opening. So they were knocking down buildings to build the public library. So, you know, just warms my little librarian heart to have that in there. But yeah, no, I think that is fantastic. And I love that they talk about cleaning up too, because he goes to the site and they knock everything down and they say, but wait, it's not done. We have to clean up. So you can say, oh, we have to clean up just like Mr. Gilly did in the book. Let's clean up all our blocks. So, I mean, there are a lot of great things that you can work in with that with your classroom, or just even with your own kids. So another good Smashy Town. Gotta love it.
Those are all excellent ideas, Mel. So I've got another one. This one is Ohana Means Family. Hold this up. The first thing that struck me about this book is it's illustrated by Kenard Pak. Kenard Pak is an illustrator that has previously worked with DreamWorks and Disney, has done a lot of animation work. I think he's even done some video games, but he's also done some picture books, and he's also done a seasonal set. There's Goodbye Winter, Hello Spring, Goodbye, he hasn't done the spring one yet, Goodbye Summer, Hello Autumn, and then Goodbye Autumn, Hello Winter. And they're just, they're kind of like soft and impressionistic. He does a great job of kind of evoking the natural world in these kind of big spreads that he does. This is a story centered in Hawaiian culture, and it starts small. I'll just show you this first page or so to make my point. This is the poi for our Ohana's luau, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing any of these. This is the kalo to make the poi for our Ohana's luau. And so as you can see, it's built on that. This is the house that Jack built kind of structure. And what I love about this is it kind of expands and pulls back from each step to talk about like everything that goes into making this one food for a luau. And it gets into like the climate of Hawaii and the volcanic soil and how you need mud. And the entire community needs to kind of get in there to get the kalo out of the ground to make the poi for Ohana's luau. And it's got these wonderful pictures of a Hawaiian family. The author is a Hawaiian-based journalist, an article writer. She writes a lot of science pieces, and I feel like her knowledge of the natural world just really comes across in this book. I think it'd be fun to use even like at Thanksgiving, just to kind of show a different kind of celebratory feast, you know, with a more diverse worldview. Mel, what did you think of this one?
Oh, I loved it. And I think that your idea of using it around Thanksgiving is an excellent idea. I hadn't thought of that because I had thought about an extension activity could be to talk about what foods your family has as a celebratory means and getting together. So whereas we're not doing that right now too, we can talk about, well, when the whole family can get together again, what would you like to have? What is your favorite food? The other thing I really liked about this was the end page tells you all about the tradition, and then there's a note from the author, and there's also a glossary so you know what each word means too. So I really appreciated that and going back and looking at that. So the other fun thing, I thought you talked about the story that builds, you know, like the house that Jack built, the napping house. You could make your own story that builds too. And I thought that would be a fun activity, especially have multiple age groups, either in your classroom or at home with your family. You could build that story yourself and have a story like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. You could also talk about your favorite place outside with this. The one thing, I was looking through this book this weekend, and I'll just show you one illustration. I mean, my husband saw these illustrations and he was like, oh my gosh, that looks like a watercolor painting. I think it was this one that actually caught his eye. And yeah, you could just do so many great art activities around this too, I thought. So, and then just keeping that kind of nature feel. So it kind of brings in that summer book too, just that whole nature feeling. What do you see when you're outside? Where does our family meet when we go outside? Whether it be the yard or a park. I mean, that one page for the whole families at the beach, I must admit, that just looked really nice right now, doesn't it?
I want to be there.
Yes. But, you know, you could talk about where does our family tend to gather and the differences, talk a little bit about the differences with the culture. So you could even look into a little bit about what Hawaii is like and look at pictures of Hawaii and compare them to what this book can look like and talk about the differences around the country a little bit with this one too. But I just loved the whole family theme too. I thought that was really nice. However, you know, for those, you could talk about what family means to your classroom too, because, you know, a lot of times family is the grandparents. Maybe they're living with the grandparents, or maybe they're living with a foster family. So we want to, you know, you could talk about what does family mean to them? I know for our family, we moved around a lot when I was a kid, and so we always had honorary aunts and uncles wherever we were. So I think you could pull a little bit of that discussion in too, so that kids that don't have that typical family structure still feel like they can be part of the conversation too. I think we want to be sensitive to that too, so that all different family structures are okay. It's just, what does family mean to you personally? So I just thought that was a sweet book, and I just getting a little glimpse into the Hawaiian culture was really interesting too. So you did good on that one, Sheri. I really liked that one.
I love that book. I've got one more for you, Mel.
Okay.
Are you ready for 5 Fuzzy Chicks?
Oh, yes. Oh, love that one.
So what I love about this one as a buyer for the district is I love a picture book that can do like double or triple duty. Like, this book has counting, it has barnyard animals and their sounds. It works as a bedtime book.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was one other thing I identified about it, and I can't remember what it is. But anyway, let me open this up. So it's bedtime at the farm, and Mother Hen tells the little chicks it's time to go to bed, but all they want to do is run, run, run. You see
So
them.
typical.
What's that?
Typical of family life, you know.
Like,
Anyone
I'm
with
not
kids
going.
knows.
Oh, and this was the other thing that I noticed about it. Like, you can talk about things like over and under and in and out, because they go past the plow, into the grass, and under the cow. The cow says moo, moo. The chicks say cheep, cheep. But the grass is so cozy. And I love how it kind of builds suspense, so you want to turn the page.
And those words are great math words too, that over and under and next to. So yeah, that works out great.
I hadn't thought about that. One chick falls asleep. Like, I love these super close-ups.
Oh yeah.
This is great kind of for, like, this book you can use with preschoolers and toddlers, but I like a big spread like this where like you're super close up, like that's catnip to a toddler. Like, to feel like they're part of this scene. So I love it for that. Mel, tell me how you would use this.
Oh, you know, I saw a lot of uses for this book. I love that you can read it to toddlers, but preschoolers will also enjoy this book. And I love that with the counting, it's you're subtracting. So it's got that other math of taking away. So that I thought was really great. I love that it rhymes too, because I figure with toddlers too, if you've got a little bit of a longer book and you're reading it out loud, if it rhymes, it keeps their attention and they kind of get into that cadence that you hear with the rhyming book. So I do love that. And the fact that you can make animal sounds, whether you're a toddler or a preschooler or, you know, early elementary age, anytime you get to make animal sounds is fantastic. But it's another way, especially to keep those toddlers interested and engaged and participating in the story. So I really liked it for that. But I thought, gosh, you can do so many activities with this. You could take out whatever animals that you have and talk about the difference between like a farm animal and a wild animal or a sea creature. And so you can work on sorting. So you could just mesh them all together and then have them sort them out. What animal would live on a farm? What animal would live in somebody's house? What animal would be out in the wild, type of thing. And you could do that with stuffed animals too. So, but I love the page about when the pig, and they talk about dancing a silly jig. I love that. And you know, you could talk a little bit about, well, what do you think is a silly jig? What kind of dance could you do? And so you could work on some music with this, and Jim Gill does the silly dance song, so you could do it in conjunction with this book too, and just have them dance and get out some of their energy. So I thought putting in the music and doing a little dance party would be a lot of fun too. So I just thought this was just another great bedtime story. I know I was always looking for bedtime stories to read to my kids, so that we'd read, you know, they'd each pick out a book, but I'd always try to end with a bedtime story to get them to calm down and go to sleep and rest. So I like that this one also just engaged all different levels too. So that was really, I'm anxious to use this with the kids now too. So I've kind of got these books at home, and just with our neighbor kids, you know, looking for a day where things are getting a little challenging outside, say, hey guys, I read a story? And just see how they like it. So, but yeah, some great new picks that have come in. I've really enjoyed looking at them. So out of these 4 books, Sheri, did you have a favorite? Were you able to pick a favorite out of the 4 books?
Oh gosh, I think it's Ohana Means Family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love just kind of how sophisticated it is, but so simple. Like,
yeah,
I just feel like it's covering a lot of territory in one picture book, and I just love the art.
mm-hmm. Yeah, the art was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So. I think my favorite I think was Summer Song.
Okay, yeah.
I think, I don't know, between the artwork and just the being out in nature and listening to sounds. I just thought, the other thing I really liked about this book was that when they were showing the kiddos, you've got some multiracial ethnic backgrounds in this book too. So I kind of like that they were able to put that all together too. Even there's a scene on the beach and you see kids of different colors, which I think is just really important for kids to be able to see themselves in books. So I like that one too. So yeah, so great. This was a lot of fun. So I want to thank you for joining us today, and we hope that you'll join us again for another about 4 books that we'll talk about. That seems to be right for about the timing. So Sheri, thank you so much for doing this with me too.
Oh gosh, thank you for bringing it up. This is great. It feels so normal to get to do this.
Yes. So great. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming, and then we hope that we'll see you next time we do this. So we hope you have a great week, and thank you for joining us.